It's the Toronto Maple Leafs against the Ottawa Senators. It's the Battle of Ontario for the first time since 2004. Historically, the Leafs own the Sens in the playoffs. 4-0. Now, does that matter a whole ton? You make of that what you will. The players on each of these teams were not involved in those series. I mean, certain players' parents were. Ty Domi's son, Max Domi, plays for the Leafs. Travis Green, who's the coach of the Ottawa Senators, played for the Leafs during the heat of the Battle of Ontario. So there's that connection. But other than that, these players have nothing to do with that. So whatever happened in the past, happened in the past. Forget about it. The Leafs, as the Atlantic Division champions, are favored, which is kind of rare in this Austin Matthews era. Because if you go through the years, you go back to 2020, they were favored against Columbus. What happened in that series? They got bumped. 2021 favored against Montreal, where the Leafs went in as the division champs, the North Division champs. And Montreal, they were essentially the 8th seed. Leafs went up 3-1 in that series. They got bumped in that series as well. And then in the second round against Florida in 2023, the We Want Florida thing, remember that? They were also favored and got bumped, I believe it was in 5 games? 4-1, I believe, was the final in that series, and Florida went on to go to the Stanley Cup. They ended up losing, but won it the next year. But the Leafs, when they are favored in this core 4 era of Austin Matthews, Nylander, Tavares, and Morgan Riley, when they're favored, they don't do so well. But one thing that they haven't been in past series, they're the veteran team. Usually it's the other way around. You know, Boston, Tampa, Florida, it's the Leafs that are the more inexperienced side. But this time around, it's the Sens who are the inexperienced side. Not that it's going to keep them back from potentially winning the series, but if you look at it, you got the veterans who've been in the Leafs who've been to the postseason 9 straight times, and this Sens team, first time since 2017. And they've done pretty well against the Leafs. I mean, they swept the season series 3-0. And if you go back the past 2 seasons, the Sens are 6-1-0 against the Buds. That's got to count for something. I mean, it's hard to translate regular season hockey to the playoffs, but there's no doubt that Ottawa is going to have confidence against this team. And if they had their choice out of Toronto, Florida, or Tampa, they would probably all put their hand up for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's be real. Just because of the Leafs' history in the first round of the playoffs over the past 9 seasons. So who has what edge in this series? Well, if you look at goaltending, I think it's about a 50-50 split. Linus Ullmark can obviously win a series. He's a very good goaltender, but he still has really proven it in the playoffs. He's got an .887 save with just 9 starts. But since March 1st in this regular season, he's 12-3-1 with a .910 save percentage. One of the best goalies in the league in that short amount of time. But on the other side, Anthony Stolarz, who's the projected starter for the Toronto Maple Leafs, 8-0-0 since March 15th with a .950 save. Also, he has the second best save percentage in the league. And I know he hasn't played as much as Darcy Kemper, Connor Hellebuyck, Bobrovsky, and who am I forgetting? Andrei Vasilevsky. I get it. But in the games that he has played, he's been one of the best goalies in the league. Has he started in the playoffs? No. And that's a big issue. 0 starts in the playoffs, projected number 1 starter. The backup behind him, Joseph Wall, who's not really a backup. It's more of a 1A, 1B tandem situation. Has some experience. He started, 4 games for the Leafs, and he's looked good, but still, he still has to prove it himself. So the goaltending, I think, is split down the middle. But if Linus Ullmark gets hot, he can win a couple games on his own. He's shown that he can do that, at least in the regular season. The guy's won a Vezina before, right? He's a good goalie. He can prove it in the playoffs. But also on the other side, Stolarz, looking like one of the best goalies in the league. If he can translate that into the playoffs to go along with the Leafs' really strong defense, they're playing playoff hockey right now. And if the horses up front can do what they're supposed to do and score goals, then I think you got to lean towards the Toronto Maple Leafs here. And scoring for Ottawa has been a bit of an issue. They can't score a 5-on-5. They're 31st in the league in that category. And that's concerning if I'm Travis Green, because entering the postseason, the games get tighter, the whistle goes away. So you're not going to have as many power play opportunities, and you're going to have to try and make it count as best you can at 5-on-5, and they haven't been able to do that in the regular season. If I'm the Leafs, that's one thing I'm looking at. If we can shut them down on 5-on-5 and limit their power play opportunities, we should be able to win this series. Let's be real. I mean, the Leafs, they're not blowing anybody away at 5-on-5. They're middle of the pack. Don't get me wrong. But their power play is cooking, and they have the game changers on their side. They have more game changers on their side than the Sens do. And now finally, another edge Leafs have is home ice advantage. And it's not just so much as playing at Scotiabank. It's what happens when they go to the Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa, when Leaf fans travel so well, and during the regular season, if you're watching those games on broadcast, it sounds like it's a 50-50 crowd. And I've said this before in one of my previous videos. If I'm in Ottawa management and I have a ton of money, or I know somebody who's got a ton of money, I buy up as many tickets as I possibly can and start throwing them away to Ottawa Senators fans, because you cannot have Leafs fans invade that barn. And that's what's probably going to happen. And that's only going to benefit Toronto. I mean, it might piss off the Sens, sure, but do you really want to hear "Go Leafs Go" in your own barn? Probably not. So the Sens got to figure that one out before Game 1 starts. Okay, enough of breaking it down. Here's who I'm going with. It's the Leafs in 7 games. And the reason I'm going 7 games is because it's the Leafs. It's never easy with these guys. If you think they're going to go out and sweep the Sens or beat them in 5 games, it's not happening. The Sens are a good team. They play a physical brand of hockey. The Leafs have demons who can creep up in any game at any moment, and the goaltending has to prove itself. So we still don't know about that. And I think Allmark could probably steal a couple games. I think Stolarz or Wall can steal a couple games. And then it's going to come down to the X factors. And I think the Leafs have the edge in the X factor department. Guys like Matthew Nyes, Bobby McMahon can pitch in with some goals to go along with the horses up front.